Hello and welcome. My name is Scott Suskovic. I'm pastor at Christ Lutheran Church, and welcome to this podcast that we call Deeper Dive, in which we take a look at the previous Sunday's sermon and go at a deeper level for a great conversation. We're glad you're here. All right, we're back here for our deeper dive, looking at the sermon on Sunday. Pastor Scott here.
Hey, and I'm Pastor Ryan.
Now, I was not there on Sunday. I was up visiting our son up in New York, and so I'm going to have to defer to you. And Adrian would typically be here as she was the preacher, but she's got a couple of continuing education days off. So what was the sermon about?
Well, you missed out a great one.
Shoot.
She knocked it out of the park. I think the most important thing she said was right off the bat, she let us all know that it's okay to take naps.
I love naps. I love naps.
Okay,
You're not a napper, are you?
You know, on a Sunday afternoon,
absolutely.
I think Jesus requires all pastors to sleep.
I think I'm part narcoleptic because I could go to sleep right here.
Right now.
Anytime. Anytime.
I am not that. I'm probably the opposite. I like to be up. I like to do my things. I like to get the things done, and it keeps me going. And that's actually what she talked about. She talked about our culture and our drive and our go and how we constantly push to the next and the best. And she actually said some things about our culture that I wonder what your takes are. One of the things she was talking about was that the largest religion in America is capitalism.
Capitalism.
Not
Catholicism.
Yeah, not Catholicism or, I don't know, or just Christianity in general, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's back up for just a moment to get the audience up to speed.
Yeah, good.
The new sermon series
That's
called
right. Give It a Rest.
Give It a Rest, about understanding the gift of the Sabbath. To these former slaves coming out of Egypt, God gives them the 10 Commandments, says, you get a day off. Now, this was not only a gift and amazing to these former slaves who never had a day off, but there's no evidence that a day off was done anywhere during this time in biblical or cultural or anything else. So the whole concept, not just for ex-slaves, but the whole concept of taking a day off was new.
And I went and I read the Exodus 20, and it says it in other places, but what's fascinating, it doesn't just say you get a day off.
Y'all?
Yeah, okay, but it says y'all and your livestock, and your sons, and your
servant, maid servant,
and your immigrant servants, right? The alien servant, right? Everybody. Anyone that you have authority with or over is off.
That's amazing. That's what's new. That's what's new because they wouldn't have thought of giving your slave a day off, much less your animals and your livestock. And you tell your chicken, don't lay an egg today. Do not lay an egg today.
Of all the all right, beavers. No, busy for you. All right, but that, while it might have been new for the Israelites and their Egyptian
surrounding cultures,
right? I think has come back around again. It is countercultural today. Right. We have the hustle. Everybody's got a side hustle, right? And you got to work it, and you got to keep working it, and you got to work it until it works and get that almighty dollar. And so when Adrian says that capitalism is our largest religion, I don't know where she's coming with that, but I think she's got a point that that you got to hustle, you got to work. There was a point in time, I think before COVID, Walmart was open 24/7.
Right.
And I remember in my small town, in my first call, one of the things we would do is we would go to the Walmart after worship.
Oh.
Because it was the only time. Not after worship. I'm sorry, after Christmas worship.
Oh, okay.
Because it was the only time in the year that it was closed. It was a kind of sight to see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That mega center that had cleared out the town center was closed. And so I made sure every year we drove right by it to have a
Waved
look.
at it.
Waved at the closed lights. Yeah, the lights off.
And yet we see Chick-fil-A taking that Sunday off, and they still generate more money per square foot than any other fast food.
If I could get stock in Chick-fil-A, you better believe I'd sink all my chickens.
Oh, but you go back to capitalism. I think that what's behind capitalism, as opposed to like socialism or communism, if I am in a communistic state, it doesn't matter if I work 80 hours or 30 hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm just moving dirt around with my shovel and looking busy. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if I'm George Costanza, who says, all you have to do is frown and look mad, and people think you're busy.
Seinfeld.
Yeah. But if it's capitalism, I mean, if it's communism, socialism, there's no real incentive
Yeah.
to work hard.
Yeah.
But when it comes to capitalism, how big a bite do you want to take? How much do you want to chew? How much do you want to swallow?
Yeah.
And it's all up to you. And so that built-in motivation for more
Yeah.
is what's behind that drive.
Yeah, and then so because of that, there's a real incentive and a payoff, right? That's the beauty of capitalism,
Yep.
right? You work hard, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you'll get somewhere.
That Tesla is putting together a $1 trillion pay package for Elon Musk.
For
Over
the CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk is going to get a
Trillion.
A trillion?
Oh, I don't know over how many years, but there's a kind of a pay incentive package. And when he took over Twitter,
Yeah.
I think, I'm not in the inside here, but I think I heard that, boy, if you're not willing to work 60, 70 hours a week, just resign right now.
I remember hearing that. That was part of the culture that he was instituting at X, right? That if you weren't going to hustle, find the door.
Yeah. And Google, I heard about some people working there, and they'll have a shuttle, a bus over in California, and they were picking up all their employees.
Yeah.
But the idea was that this shuttle had a Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And you had kind of a sitting desk. So there was no
Oh.
downtime in your
even your commute.
even in your commute.
All right. So let's contrast $1 trillion hustle to another point that Pastor Adrian made as she lifted up Psalm 23, where it says that He, the Lord, makes me lie down. Makes me lie down. And not, by the way, in a minefield or the rocky terrain, but in green pastures along beautiful waters, right? Still
You should like
waters.
it.
This is a thing that you should want. Why am I having to be made?
Yeah, and I think that's probably where some of us have experienced. Her theme for on Sunday was forced Sabbath.
And that was the theme. That's what we want to lift
Forced
up.
Sabbath.
Yeah.
Like COVID for a lot of people was a forced Sabbath. Unemployment would be a forced Sabbath. I've got a forced Sabbath coming up here. I got some surgery.
Yeah.
And even though I can take a nap at any moment, the hours are long every week. And it's going to be weird not going at 100 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, because during all of our forced Sabbath, I don't know about Kevin, our tech guy here, but I learned how to make Chinese food and sourdough bread, right? That was my pastime.
During COVID.
Yeah, and I happen to know something about your pastime. You didn't learn how to watercolor or to knit. Why don't you share with us?
Yeah, I used COVID to get certified in executive coaching training with online classes.
Yeah, forced what?
Forced Sabbath.
Oh.
So I've thought about this quite a bit. I've got 6 to 8 weeks that I'll be recovering. What am I going to do with that? I don't want to sit around and watch TV. I don't want. So I've got a couple of things. First of all, number one, get healthy.
Amen.
And I'm going to follow doctor's orders, do the walk around the block, whatever. All right, get healthy. Second thing, is I want to read through the entire New Testament.
Cool.
Probably not the Gospels. I feel like I know them very well.
Okay.
But I feel that every time I pick up Scripture, it is to prepare for something. Prepare for a Bible study. Prepare for a sermon. I've got a funeral coming up. It is a study, not a devotion as much. So I'm just gonna start with what's after John? The Acts?
The Gospel of John? Yeah, Acts. Well,
you knew that, right?
Well, John 1, 2, or 3 is where my brain went, because that's where you were headed.
No, I'm going to start with the Acts and just work my way through it. Journal with some prayers during this time, and I haven't done that consistently. More than just like a 5-minute devotional that you find online and you start your whole day.
Yeah.
This is going to be hours a day.
I love that. That's one of those things that I try to teach people, right? How to do a devotion, and the epitome of a real devotion isn't that devo that you get out of the book. It's the spend time in the Word with a journal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then and why are we writing that down? So that we can understand what we think we understand.
Yeah.
Of course, you come back to that, and your understanding develops.
Yeah.
So that's a fabulous use of time, because you don't have an agenda.
No, I don't have to prepare anything.
Right. You just get to be in the Word. Wow, a pastor that just gets to be in the Word.
Get out of here. So I'm going to. I'm kind of excited about it. I want to get into Acts and see how the early church. I think I know, but I want to read it in a sitting and just see how the early church was formed. I want to get into Corinthians and just see what kind of a awful group of people that Paul was talking to. Getting drunk at the Lord's table, an incestuous relationship going on.
All of that.
I want to hear the love letter of Philippians. I want to hear about the blessed community in 1, 2, 3 John.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about reading them as a chunk.
Oh, I'm envious.
You got to have surgery.
No. So actually,
don't be too envious.
That actually gets to one of Adrian's last points, which is that life goes on. That we tend to think that we can't rest because we are so vital to all of those systems and parts that we're a part of, and yet we're not.
Well, yeah, we think we're indispensable, and we realize that nobody is really indispensable. We say that, and it certainly applies for you and me, and it applies for, I guess, the people who listen to this podcast. But we also know people that have to work 2 or 3 jobs 7 days a week to pay for rent and put money on the table.
Right.
It is a luxury. It's not so much capitalism as it is survival.
That's what it is.
And so I don't want to minimize or even shame people that have to do 2 or 3 jobs to pay for food and clothing.
Yeah.
We're in a bit of a luxury situation to be able to say, I'm going to take the time off.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a reality.
Yeah.
Now, Adrian does happen to bring up some things that, for those who have the ability, can do, right? Some practical things. I think it pleases me. I hope it pleases Pastor Adrian. You're nailing it. Practice intentional Sabbath, right?
Yep.
Recognize that this is a time you're going to take. Accept the limitations that you have. Redefine what productivity means, and then enjoy.
Yeah. It's I just got out of a funeral, and my mind's still thinking that way.
Yeah.
They are New Yorkers.
Okay.
Grew up in, I'm not sure if it's the Bronx.
The Bronx.
The Bronx. I'm not sure which one it is. But one of those two they lived.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, one of my favorite things to do on a Saturday is get the Wall Street or New York Times and go on my back porch and maybe put a game on and a beverage and read through. But cool thing here, I love doing the crossword puzzle, look at the silly, expensive fashions that they're... But I also look at the obituaries.
Oh, okay.
Now, the obituaries in the New York Times is not like the Charlotte Observer, which, so-and-so died and so-and-so. No, it's 2 or 3 people. And these are amazing people. These are people like, the one who invented the silicone chip. This is the one that the first person in space. This is the first, the one on last weekend was Dr. Watson.
Oh, Crick and Watson, the double helix.
What the heck? You're like Cliff Clavern. How do you know that stuff?
I don't know. Because Watson and Crick, this is a famous guy.
Watson
That's why he was
Crick.
in the New York. Or
and he
Wall
discovered he and his team discovered that the double helix and the whole gene system, the chromosome. It's supposed to be. It's been dubbed as the greatest discovery in science and medicine ever.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you get to be in the Wall Street Journal.
You do. But my obituary and this woman we just had a funeral, she's not going to be in there.
Yeah.
She was a stay-at-home mom in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, that's a beautiful
She
way.
had 5 kids, took them to church.
Right?
But that's not going to make the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, it should, though. I get why it won't.
So this is my point. When you were talking about how do we do the Sabbath well, it is not living a life trying to hit a dollar number. It's not trying to hit a limelight. It's not. I think all those things are pleasing to me. I think the Sabbath key is what is pleasing to God.
That's it.
And raising 5 kids in the church and being a part of their lives, that was pleasing to God. I mean, every person's got to make their choice of what is, but sometimes what is pleasing to God is not always pleasing to the New York Times editors.
Thanks be to God.
Yeah.
So
she's not going to make the New York Times obituary. I'm not going to make the New York Times obituary, but it's not to mean that we are forgotten, because we have a God who has made a place for us, a God who is welcoming to us, a God who is pleased and says to us, "Well done, good and faithful servant, come into my fold."
And there it is. What we do is not for our glory, but it is for God's.
Yeah.
And to Him be all the glory.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Hey, and blessings.
Blessings.
To you, Scott.
Yeah. I got another 10 days, but we'll see each other again. But I welcome your prayers. I spent 35 years at the bedside of others praying for them, and now I'm looking forward to receiving some of those prayers as well.
Well, you'll get a lot.
Good deal.